I got some of the weeds cleaned from around my little garden pond. I've not gotten the garden pond cleaned out yet. I've been working on these beds, getting them cleaned out. I really need to get some collards harvested before they start going bad. But this bed is clean. A lot of weeds. There was a lot of weeds in this whole, every bed. This bed I cleaned out 90%, but I've still got some weeds in it, but the weeds were 2 to 3 feet tall in this bed, and I've got to do some repair. This board has come off, and I think this is a 12-foot bed here. Last year I had my peppers on one end and some tomatoes on the other, but I'm just going to take my little battery tiller and till this up, because the weeds are too many to leave but too small for me to get in there by hand, and I'm just going to till that up. My lemon balm is really starting to come out. That little bunch of greenery right there is chives from last year. This is my potato bed, and the potatoes have come up nicely. Not all of them though, because they were a complete row, and you can tell there's some missing right there. There's one missing there. There's a bunch missing here. But I do have some potatoes coming up. This bed I'm still working on. There's the other end where that board is coming off. I'm going to have to go in there and clean out the weeds. That's dollar weed. Oh, that stuff is so hard to get rid of. This bed, I've cleaned it the same way. There's a lot of little small stuff that is still in it. I'm going to have to till to, churn all of that up. This bed is clean and ready to plant. I pulled weeds from this bed. This didn't have any vegetables in it. This had clematis and some mums, and it had echinacea in it, a couple of lilies. This is my black raspberry bed. There's a few here, not many. I've got it cleaned out. I've actually lost a few of those plants, so I'm going to have to get some replacements. Overall, that's pretty much it with the beds. Not done by far, but I have done a lot. Every box in this garden was full of weeds. I didn't leave it that way, but weeds can grow no matter the season or the temperature, it seems. I've got some flower pots down there on the end I need to clean out, and some down here on this end. I mean, there's just so much work. This box is cleaned out and ready to plant. This has a wire trellis here. I've got some trellises in those boxes. I really haven't made up my mind what I'm going to plant and where. In the background over there, that's my grape arbor, and I'm not convinced that they are going to be any good. They were not doing good last year. This big tree here, that's a plum, and then there's a smaller plum right there. That tree out there on the corner is a crepe myrtle, and beyond are 2 apple trees and 3 small crepe myrtles. They're hard to see, it's quite a distance, and they're skinny little tiny things. I mean, they're tall, but they haven't matured yet. I've got a flower bed over here down the side of the greenhouse I've got to clean out. I've got 2 boards on the side of the greenhouse that's got to be replaced. Here's some debris that I cleaned out and just tossed aside. I'll get it all up with the tractor. I pulled a lot of weeds, but not all, from this flower bed at the front of the greenhouse. I've still got some weeds and some daylilies. These daylilies just multiplied, and I really don't want them in here anymore. I'm gonna have to pull them up, but anybody that's ever had daylilies knows you never get all of them, and you usually leave behind some root and they'll come right back. I think I planted 3 in here one year, 10 years ago or something like that. Same on this other side. They've all spread. This box I have not cleaned out. Still have a lot of debris. Winter debris, leaves, dead weeds, a pine growing in it, several pines growing in it. But this box here has definitely got to be cleaned out. Oh, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. I know I'll get to it. I'll get it. Every year it's like this. Wind blew this chair over. I have a few things that are hanging out. They did well during the winter. They always do. A little bit messy. I've got to clean that. I mean, everywhere I look, there's, you know, it's natural. It's just the way that it is. Winter brings on a lot of debris, destruction, and sometimes even death of plants. And because of the temperature, it's hard to get out and do anything. So it all comes on your shoulders right at the beginning of spring. I wish I was one of those that could be completely ready when spring rolls around and everything's just done and ready to start planting. I just can't seem to get that done. I want to in my heart, I want to in my head, but my body says, nope, you stay in where it's warm. Or the end of the season, I just, you know, tire down and don't want to do anymore. But this is the stage that almost all of us who garden get to. It's the cleaning stage of the garden before we can start gardening. And time is running out because spring is already officially here by a few days. But our last frost date is not until the first week of April. So I've gotten, you know, the first week of April, and after that is when I'll be planting. I usually wait until about the 10th, but if the weather is nice that first week, I might stick something out. But between now and time to start planting, I've got a lot of things to whip into shape. This is just the front garden. The back garden, I have done a lot of work on that too. And let's see, two days ago I did a good bit of work back there. So I have some of the same in the back garden, trying to whip everything into shape. But I'm grateful that the weather has changed. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to get out here and do it, even though at first I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh. But then once I get out here, I enjoy the work. I enjoy doing it, and I love how it looks afterwards. And I have mowed this garden one time. A week and a half to 2 weeks ago, I mowed this whole garden, and the, what do we call those things? It's sour grass. Sour grass has really popped up. Eventually that dies out and the grass just takes over. But the sour grass is abundant right now, and it doesn't even look like I mowed. Let's go to the back garden. So this is a little garden box that I just stuck on the end of the garden a couple of days ago, and I transplanted this Rose of Sharon, which is already starting to push out some leaves, and 2 small flowers that I transplanted from some containers. Moved all this soil in here. I'm going to fill this with straw as a mulch, but I'm going to hold off and see what else I have that I want to plant in here. And eventually I'm going to put another box like that on this side over here, on this corner. I don't know when. That was a big effort. It took me all day because they were oddball pieces of wood. They didn't match. They were different lengths. I had to drag them from across the other side of the property. I had to cut them, and I ended up not cutting enough. I didn't get any cut for the back, so I stuck bricks, cinder blocks back there to hold the soil in. I may leave it like that. I may eventually add some wood to close that in. I don't know. I got tired and frustrated. It was an all-day job by myself, and it shouldn't have taken that long, but I just tired out so easily. I have another Rose of Sharon right here in this pot, which I'm gonna try to keep and take, baby care of that until I can get the other box built and put that one on the other side, so I'll have a Rose of Sharon flanking both sides of the front of the garden. I have rose bushes that are still in pots from last year. My intention was to set them out, not leave them in the pots, but here they are. They're still in the pots. I've got a pot over there, and there's 4 rose bushes in that one pot. And then here in this pot, there's 4. All the intentions of transplanting, and it hasn't happened yet. Look at this. My fig tree, this is the small one, is pushing out some leaves. And I noticed some new growth here on my hydrangea. This also needs to be transplanted out. All these things in pots was never intended to stay in the pot. I've got the olive tree back here. That needs to be put in the ground. That pot right there is angel trumpet. I don't intend for that to stay in the pot. The hydrangea, the fig, and then this rose bush was not supposed to stay in this pot. This box is ready to be planted in. Don't know yet what I'm going to put in it. And here I've got just a few scattered garlic, and then celery, celery, and then collards that are going to seed. These collards in the back are going to seed. I think there's some garlic somewhere up under those collards. Not sure where or if they're still alive. I've got a lot of work to do over at the chicken yard. I've got some work to do over at the goat yard. A lot of work back here. And then there's the regular yard work. The mowing, the weeding. I've got to clean my ditches out because they're full of leaves and can't flow very well down here. This bunch of leaves is stopping up this drain, same as that drain and one further down. I mowed back here 2 weeks ago. It doesn't look like it. My pear tree has been blooming for a little while. So has my blueberry bush. Of course, I think the cold temperatures, last week we had a really hard cold snap, and I think that these kind of got a little bit of shock from that cold temperature. This blueberry bush here is not doing too well. The majority of it is dead, but there's a few twigs and some blooms. If I can get in there and show that. Maybe it'll make it. I need to do a lot of amending around this. I need to clean the weeds out, do some amending, and see if I can get some new growth on that. My 3 elderberries are getting a lot of growth. Every year these things do fantastic. So everything is waking up faster than I'm able to get to it to clean up and kind of do pruning and raking and cleaning and weeding. But you know, all we can do is one thing at a time and do the best that we can do. This is my big fig tree, and I'm getting a lot of growth here on this tree. So yeah, like I said, everything is waking up. It's a beautiful sight, even though part of the site is the dirty side of gardening and yard work and, you know, home life in general, is the cleanup. A lot of cleanup before I can actually start gardening. But I have been working at it a little at a time every day for the last week and a half, maybe close to 2 weeks, doing, you know, one step at a time, one project at a time. And I know that the same goes for the majority of everybody else. Everybody has a lot of work. It's just the nature of the way things are. So I wish you all success in getting your gardens whipped into shape if you're having to do it. I look forward to seeing videos of everybody else who's gardening and how things are coming along. And I, for one, can't wait for the garden season to actually begin. Once things are planted, seed sown, transplants, and even new stuff bought, I can't wait for all of that to start going in full swing. I thank you for hanging out with me while I did this little look around to see what's got to be done. And I hope you'll stick around for the rest of the videos as they come. If you like my content, I'd appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe and the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when new content is uploaded. I hope y'all have a wonderful day and a wonderful gardening season. Take care. Bye-bye.